everyone, Kimsey Hollifield with Hollifield Financial Group. I was talking to a client the other day and they came into my office and they asked about how much risk they had in their accounts and if they were diversified and all this stuff. You know, and it made me think about a story of something I went through. And this is kind of how I told it to them. This is how I'll explain it to you. Diversification is something that is like a buzzword, right? It doesn't actually exist for most of you, right? I want you to think about your account and the word diversification and how, all right, it's supposed to give you all this safety and all this security and help you sleep at night. But the problem is you were diversified in 2000, 2001 when 9/11 happened, when the internet bubble burst, and most people lost like 40% of what they had invested in the stock market at that time, right? And then, you know, it went down and then it came back up, and then you know, in 2008 we had the Great Recession, right? And the housing bubble burst. And most people, once again, were diversified, but they lost 40% of what they had invested in the stock market, right? And a lot of people had mutual funds at that point, which are supposed to be diversified, right? And then it comes back up again, and now we have COVID hits, right? And most people, the average 401k lost 36% in just like that. And the thing is, you were diversified, right? You were diversified all three of those times. But diversification, what you're actually getting, diversification doesn't actually give you safety. So it doesn't actually, now maybe you lose, you know, 30% instead of 40%, but it made me think of a story. So when I was in my early 20s, when I was actually 23 years old, Lorna and I were living in Asheville, North Carolina. I worked for a big company, and they called me up and they said, we want to promote you, we want to send you down to Charleston. And I knew I wasn't really ready for the job of running an insurance agency. At the time I had up to 20 agents in the office, and we had a staff, and they were all reporting to me, and I didn't know what I was doing, right? But I took the job. The next day we packed our stuff up and we moved. Like immediately we went, because I knew it was a good opportunity, even though I knew that I was completely over my head, right? And I got down there, and a bunch of my, you know, a couple of my bosses came down to help me get everything set up, and we had to go down to Florida for a training, and this particular training was what they call a profit check or quarterly profit check meeting. So I didn't really have any money, but I went down there. We did the training, and at the end of the training, I watched these guys get these massive checks, money that I would never have dreamed of getting at the time. You know, one guy came up and he got like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Another guy, a friend of mine, came up and he got like $70,000 in one check. Several people got over $100,000 in one check. This is not their regular income. This is literally just profit from their business, and they got this every 3 months. It was like remarkable to me that like this is actually a check for like $140,000. Like I wouldn't even know like where to put it. Like can you take that down to the bank, right? So everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was excited. I did not get a profit check, so I was just kind of like whatever, right? I was like in awe, but I wasn't in as good a mood as somebody that got $140,000. But they came to me and they said, Kimsey, this is your first time hanging out with us in Florida. What do you want to do? And I said, I have never been to a casino. In fact, I couldn't even rent my own U-Haul to move to Charleston. They had to actually sign for me, and I could not even rent a U-Haul. I had never been to a casino, and so I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to go to a casino. So we go into the Hard Rock in Tampa, and we go in there, and a group of guys come in and straight to the high rollers area, blackjack. So we sit down there, and we're all lined up. It was me and 3 people that I worked with, and a long haul truck driver. I swear I'm not making this up. This is exactly what happened. A long haul truck driver. And I swear it also does, you know, it does line up with what we're talking about, diversification. Guy over here on the right, we're gonna call him Fred, right? Freddie. So Freddie is over here on the right, and the minimum on this table is $100 per hand. Everybody is betting at least $1,000 a hand, right? Now Freddie, he's sitting over there, super successful dude. He takes his blackjack and he's gonna play 2 hands at a time. So he has big stack of chips, and he takes them and he puts one stack here and he takes another stack here. There must have been $20,000 or $30,000 there, easy. It was the darndest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And he is playing 2 hands at a time. So the dealer deals their hand, he gets 2, and he's betting at least $1,000 in each spot, right? And sometimes he has to split his cards. He has $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in a pot, and it's just crazy. I mean, I've never seen this before ever, right? And sometimes he wins, and sometimes he loses, right? Sometimes he kind of breaks even. But the thing that I want to explain to you is that he took his money and he split it into 2 places. And I think we can agree that both of those piles of money were both at risk, right? That was not like a safe strategy that you would cash out your IRA or your 401k or money that you needed to do to grow your money, right? So he took this, he had two piles of money, and he was sometimes losing in 2 different places. That is exactly what some folks have told you to do with your money. Money that you need to live on, money that you need to retire on. They've said, let's take this, let's diversify into several different places that all have risks to them. One mutual fund, another mutual fund, this stock, that stock. Listen, if the market drops again and it's what we call a systemic market risk, like a recession or like a pandemic or like 9/11, like that means the whole market's going down. When that happens, each stack of your money, wherever your money is, if it's all at risk, it's all going down, right? It's not safety, it's not diversification, really. I mean, it shouldn't help you sleep at night because it's still a risky play, right? To the left of me, another guy that I worked with, John, he is over there, and nobody's paying him much attention, right? He's sitting over there next to the long haul trucker. They're having a good time, doing whatever they're doing, playing their blackjack. Everybody's focused on Freddie because he has this big stack of chips. But throughout the night, John, he actually does something different. He plays standard blackjack, 1 hand at a time, boom, boom, boom. But every time his stack of chips got up too high, he would actually take a few and put it in his pocket, right? And that's actually illegal, or let's say it's frowned upon, right? Let's say it's frowned upon. The casino does not want you to take the chips off of the table. And the reason is, if the chips are on the table, then you have a good chance of risking that money. Your financial advisors have kind of developed the same strategy, right? As long as your money is in the market, then they can get paid by managing that risk. Think about it this way. If you call your broker up tomorrow and you say, we've done very well over the past 10 years, I want to take $100,000 out of my account, I'm just going to put it at the bank. If you do that, does your broker get paid on that $100,000 you took away from him? No, because they get paid to manage risk. So the money has to be at risk for them to get paid, right? So Johnny's doing that. He's taking some chips off the table. He's putting it in his pocket. Nobody notices. Along came about 3 o'clock in the morning, and the casino comes in, and we're all wrapping up, and they say, we want to give you guys a private room and a private dinner, right? And it's like almost breakfast time at that point. So fast forward, we're sitting there at this big table, and they're bringing out steaks and lobsters and all these sides and all this. And our posse has grown now from the one thing I learned is when you go to the high rollers table, there's more people that come over and watch this. And so now we don't have 4 or 5 people. We have like 20 people at this big table sitting there eating all this food, hanging out, and everybody's saying, oh, how'd you do? How'd you do? Did you win? Did you lose? And then John stands up and he says, check this out, guys. And he starts reaching into his pockets and throwing chips onto the table there. And he won about $25,000 that night. And the strategy that he used is every time he got on a run, and he started making a lot of money, he would take that money and put it into a safe place. In this instance, it's his pocket. In your instance, it might be, you've made money in your investment accounts, and there are financial tools that have no risk to them, right? So if the market goes down, they don't go down. And maybe that's your version of this. And maybe you since you've made money, now as you're getting older, you're going to take and you're going to have less risk to it. So you kind of have to decide how much risk you want to have in your portfolio, in your financial plan. And if you've never sat down and said, what is my risk number? We do an awesome report that is a risk number report that actually takes every investment in the world and gives it a risk number from 1 all the way to 99. 1 would be like cash, like something that has no risk of losing if the market goes down. 99 might be, I don't know, it might be like some penny stocks or some sort of like cryptocurrency, like the most risky play you can have. And we have a little questionnaire that you figure out where you fall on the spectrum, and then we compare your accounts to that. And a lot of times what I see is folks are taking way more risk than they want, and just by taking that down a little bit, it really makes a massive difference. So if you've never done that, click the link and we'll get that to you. And listen, if you like this, we have a lot of videos coming out. What I'm going to try to do with this channel is take complex financial topics and make them simple. I want it to be so that you can you can understand it, it's enjoyable, it's easy, and then we're also going to do some behind the scenes as we grow our financial practice. So if you like this, subscribe, click the little bell icon, and we're going to be doing one every week from here on out, and it's going to be fantastic, it's going to be fun, and I hope to see a lot of you soon. I don't know. I think I've seen people do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys do it this way too, though.